Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where in the world you are, mi gente. As always, I want to let you know that I appreciate you tuning in and sharing your Monday blues with me. And if you haven't done so already, go follow me on Instagram at itsmi.chelle. Click the link in the bio so we can connect everywhere. Also, make sure you subscribe to my podcast on YouTube and on all podcast platforms, as well as the Patreon channel, y'all. It's Michelle Podcast. Let's go. So, you never miss a thing. All right, vámonos.
I see you. It's me. It's me. It's me. It's me. It's me. It's me, Shell bitch.
Hey, Gente, welcome back to another week of the It's Me Shell podcast. And remember, my job is to make your road to Friday a lot easier. Mi gente, feliz lunes and happy Monday. We're back, and I wanted to have a special guest with us today, but he's on a boys' trip. And of course, I'm sure you guys know exactly who it is that I'm talking about. My husband, Shani Kenobi. Shout out to you, babes. He's on a boys' trip with his best friends, Eddie and Ray, and I'm sure they're having so much fun without the wives. So I'm glad, that they're out there having fun. Very sad that he's not here, though, because I'm sure there would have been a lot of shit to talk. It's always best when you talk shit with multiple people. As you can hear, people are outside. People just be too outside. Y'all already know how I feel about summers in the city. But anywho, I didn't want to forget to say that all three men, Shani Kenobi, Ray, and Eddie, you guys are amazing dads. Love you guys. And I'm sure you guys are having an amazing time celebrating because this is what this episode's about. It's about Father's Day. Now, before we get into it, shout out to the Puerto Ricans that celebrated at the Puerto Rican Day Parade this past Sunday.
Pronto llegará el día de mi suerte. Sé que antes de mi muerte, seguro que mi suerte cambiará.
Yes, shout out to y'all. And if you missed it, head over to AMP and catch the replay of my Puerto Rican Day Parade mix because it was lit over there. All right. I know I'm Dominican. I mean, if you guys don't know that by now, I don't know what to tell y'all. But I was influenced by many people and just different cultures. Yeah, I already know this. Okay. And Puerto Ricans were definitely a big influence in not only what I know, but also La Comay, just many different factors here. And I had to shout them out because, it was the Puerto Rican Day Parade. So,
Rico, hey! Puerto Rico, hey!
so yeah, shout out to them. All right. So, like I said before, this episode is going to be all about Father's Day, which is coming up this Sunday. All right. So let's get into it. If you're heading to work, already at work, or walking into your humble abode because your day is over, let me help you forget that it's Monday by setting a different scene. I'm going to create the scenario for y'all. I'll give you some time to get ready.
Puerto Rico. Coma.
All right, let's get it. They walk the dog, take out the trash, protect their home and their families, work to make sure that their family has everything they need, that they lack nothing. And on top of all of this, all the pressures of the world, all the obstacles they face, they take care of their children. They are present, they are caring, they are loving, and they deserve to be loved. Welcome to the world of a father. Happy Father's Day. Mi gente, you know what? That hits hard. Just that beginning, that intro kind of hits hard. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, hold up.
Puerto Rico.
Toma. And that's exactly what I feel like today. I feel like we're going to talk about dads and a lot of people that I grew up with, a lot of people present in my life, right now that I see every day or I communicate with or I talk to. I'm not saying that we're super close, but just, around my community, they all feel like they have something negative to say about dads, but it's only because things aren't going their way. And I said what I said. Okay. So I feel like this episode is a toma. That's how I feel about it. I feel like I have to kind of So I feel like I have to say toma. I feel like I have to use the platform to highlight all the positivity that fathers bring to the table, because if you ask a scorned woman, she will say, "Oh my god, he don't do shit. He ain't shit. He's a bitch ass." You know the lingo. You know how it goes. So why not change that? Why not change that narrative? And that's what I'm here to do. All right. So Father's Day is next weekend, as I said. And of course, we're all going to celebrate. I always make sure that hubby every day knows that he is a great dad and that we appreciate him and that he is also human. All right. So, the same way people are like, oh my God, Mother's Day is every day. Yeah. Dads, fathers all around the world every day. The present ones, the loving ones, the caring ones, they are present and they're trying their best every single day. So I figured, why not make it a topic for this week? I mean, hello. It's great. Mother's Day commercials, if, just to get into it, because this is how I kind of started thinking about the process. I was like, Mother's Day commercials start immediately. Once it hits May, every kiss begins with K on this Mother's Day. Get her what she deserves. And it's just like, oh shit, okay. Capitalism at its best. Everybody go shopping. Everybody do this. They kind of put the bug in your ear, right? But when it comes to Father's Day, I noticed that you really don't get many commercials.
You're fired.
I mean, you really don't. You don't see many ads, you don't see a lot of that. And that's kind of harsh, because why is it that we have to prep the entire month for Mother's Day, right? As soon as it hits April 30th, May 1st, they're just like, it's Mother's Day in like 3 weeks. Of course, I'm being overly dramatic because it's who I am, but that's how I feel it kind of goes. But Father's Day, I have yet to see, well, okay, no, bullshit, because I did see, but I want to say, because I was doing some research on what to get the hubby, and I was just like, because we do like doing a lot of like do it yourself gifts and stuff like that, because he appreciates those a lot more than going out and buying something. But I was just kind of looking for inspirations and things like that, because I do like being over the top. And as you've heard in many other episodes, we like to one up each other. So any little chance we get, we're just like, it's our time. Uh, but that's the only time where I started getting just like Father's Day ideas on my phone, because the algorithm be catching you. That's gonna, the rhythm is gonna get you. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know how I work.
You're fired.
I know. I'm gonna get back on track. So anyway, I digress. I didn't see anything until after I started doing research. I didn't see any Father's Day ads. I didn't see absolutely anything. I think it's all societal, if you ask me, but that's just my opinion. And like I was telling you guys before, I went on my little rampage. We like to do a lot of DIY gifts. And in the in the words of Seinfeld, not that there's anything wrong with that. We just love doing it. But it was pretty difficult. It was almost like going down a rabbit hole. But for women or for mothers, it was just like bam, 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 bam. Hmm. Let me know if I'm wrong. Let me know if maybe I'm overthinking it, or maybe I just don't know how to fucking Google search. It could just be.
You're fired.
It could just be that I don't fucking know how to Google search. But what's up with that? What's up with that? Anywho, we are here today. We are gathered here today to shed light on all those good dads out there. And I say good dads because I have to make this connection. There are some dads that aren't present, they don't provide. Dare I say, they don't care about their children, and don't come for me. It's the way of the world. It is the way of the world. It is what I've seen and I've been around. If not, I wouldn't be talking about it. If I had no clue what the fuck I was saying, I wouldn't even mention it, because y'all know how we do over here. I so This episode is for all the good papas out there, the strong male father figures in their children's lives, the fathers that are leading them into greatness. All right. The hubby and I actually spoke about Father's Day in the last episode. And if you haven't tuned in, go take a ganda, go take a listen wherever you stream your podcasts. We go in on how everything seems to come before Father's Day. And that's how I feel the world thinks about it, which is why I went so hard in the beginning talking about commercials and ads and all this other shit and gift ideas. So everything, in my opinion, or what I've observed, comes before Father's Day. And I have a question, and I would really love an answer if anyone has anything to say about it. Is it because men are described as stoic? Because it is true, men are always described as stoic. They're strong, and the machismo that's in them, the testosterone, doesn't allow them to be soft at times or have feelings or be gentle. And is this why it's okay to disregard Father's Day or not make a big deal because only women enjoy being celebrated, right? Should or only women should be celebrated, but men have to. It's like their job. It's their second nature. Next to breathing, if you're a dad, boom, you breathe, you're a dad. So it's just like, or you breathe and you take care of your family. You breathe and you provide. Like all of these things are second nature. So why praise them if this is what they've been raised to do? Is that accurate? What is that an accurate way of thinking? Let me know, mi gente. All right. And in light of all of this, the fact that I feel that dads don't get enough recognition, this is why I said I need to share 5 inspirational quotes for Father's Day because it is their day, period. Period. Okay? And I went through my little search in the interwebs and I found 5 quotes that they kind of resonated once I read it. I said, okay, we can get deep with this. I understand it. And this is what we're going to talk about today because I really don't understand. It's like mental health check, please. Thank you. It's almost like dads fathers aren't allowed to have a day or, yeah, just have a day to just say, all right, let me sit back. Today's for me. Today is my day. And like I said before, women are always like, it's Mother's Day every day. Well, it's Father's Day every day too, especially if they're present, they're great dads, if they're around all the time, if they want the best for their children, if they provide for the children, whether, you know, they're in the home or outside the home, because we don't know what that dynamic looks like. But they're still there, they're still around. They still want to make sure that their children get the best that they can. And that's a father's job. So they can be celebrated every day because they do this shit every day. So that's what we're going to get into. Anyway, before we start, I want to let you know that La Comay will not be joining us today. No, unfortunately, desafortunadamente, she will not be joining us, but she has started blogging. Yeah, she started vlogging. Okay, so head over to La Comai's merch corner, click on La Comai's Shenanigans blog in the quick links so you can read the shit that she's talking about over there. It's super cute. It is very cute. She has no hair in her tongue, but also it gives you an opportunity to explore La Comai's merch corner. So make sure you head over there. The links will be in the description, and y'all know what to do. I don't even have to tell you, y'all already know what to do. All right, so I figured I would read the quotes and express what it meant to me, how I interpreted them. And I would love to hear from you as well. So make sure you comment, let me know what you're thinking. Let me know if my interpretation sounded kind of crazy. Let me know. Because I'm a wild one. I interpret things in so many different ways. Ugh, it's just the way my brain works. All right, let's start. A father, this is the first quote, by the way, and I'll make sure to read whoever wrote the quote. I will, full disclaimer, full disclosure here, I did not look up any of these people. So don't come for me. I found these quotes separate, different places. And I was like, you know what? These are good. So let's start with the first one. And it reads, a father is neither an anchor to hold us back, nor a sail to take us there, but a guiding light whose love shows us the way. And for some reason, I felt like I had to read that in that accent. Y'all already you already know me. You already know me. So yes, it says a father is neither an anchor to hold us back nor a sail to take us there, but a guiding light whose love shows us the way. And this was unknown by unknown. And I will say that I agree with that. And I'll say this for I'll say this while also explaining or describing a situation I was in when I was a child, a long time ago, of course. Um, and I had so many questions because my mom and my dad at that point were like, we knew they were going to separate. And as all children do, and every single fucking movie you see, I was just like, no, don't break up. Oh my gosh, guys have to stay together. Like, I would literally wake up in the morning and make breakfast and I'll be like, "Oh my god, dad made this for you, mom." Or I'll be like, "Oh, mom made this for you, dad." Because and it shouldn't be our job. It was pretty difficult because I felt like I had to I was the glue and I was going to stick them back together and when it didn't work, I was fucking completely devastated. That's for another episode. Two outside. We're not going to talk about it though. Um so I remember approaching my dad because I was always very comfortable having a conversation with my dad. And I asked him if you leave, what am I going to do? And he was just like, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Well, I think I have to stay with you. I don't know how this is going to work because I'm not staying here. Like I have to go with you." Like I couldn't understand the fact that my dad was leaving. I didn't understand the concept of visitations. I didn't understand any of it. So I was just like, "Well, no, I have to pick a side, right?" As all children think, which is why this is such a difficult time. And my dad, he was just very honest in a way that I understood as a child. And he said, you should never have to choose. We're both here. Like it was just such a beautiful response. And at that time, I was kind of looking for him to tell me what to do, to just laser focus me exactly where I need to be. And I knew that would be the answer. So that's why this quote kind of resonates because it's just like, no, he wasn't going to hold me back and he wasn't going to tell me what to do. But his words helped me understand what was happening. And then I thought to myself, well, I need to be guided by me. And that's one thing that I learned. And then, of course, it all got fucking foobarred. Just go back and watch the Toxic Mothers episode. So thank you for that, Papa. Really appreciate you. And also the hubby, Shani Wakanobi, he does this with all of our children at all times. He hears them out and he doesn't tell them what to do. He gives them advice. He listens, but he doesn't stop them unless it's something, of course, that's like, whoa, that sounds dangerous. And you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. You dads out there, you know exactly what it is that I'm talking about. So, but he definitely just listens there and he's just like, okay, so let's talk about it. All right. So the next quote reads, any man can be a father. It takes someone special to be a dad. And this is by Anne Geddes. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And at first I was just like, I don't know if I understand this one. But then I kind of sat down and tried to interpret it. And I think it goes back to what I was saying, those present, loving, caring, providing fathers. And when I say providing, let's not get it twisted. I don't mean monetary assistance. I mean just providing anything that their child needs. When they're crying, he's going to provide a shoulder. He's going to provide advice. This it doesn't always have to be monetary. At least not in the concept of uh Father's Day. Okay, we're talking about fathers. Period. In all aspects. So it's just not like providing monetary sustenance, providing everything all around. And so that's why because I was just like, I don't think I want to read this one. I don't know how I feel about it. But when I read it, again, I kept kind of like digging deep Like, and it did go back to what I was thinking of what I thought a father was, because that's what a father was to me. That's what my father was. And that's the type of father that my husband is. And that's what I see him do every single day. I watch him, I listen to him speak to them every day, provide advice, provide an ear whenever they need to talk. So this is what I see around me. And again, shout out to all the dads out there. Shout out to y'all. This is all about y'all. Now, the next quote reads, "My father didn't tell me how to live. He lived and let me watch him do it." And this is by Clarence Buddington Kelland. Now, this quote, I didn't really understand it at first. I really, again, had to just kind of sit back, let the words kind of hit me when they hit me. And the only reason is because, my dad was gone when I was 10. So watching him growing up in the Bronx, I was just like, I don't think this is how I want to live, but I love you anyway, Dad. I don't think I want to watch what you're doing. Again, an episode for another podcast, possibly Patreon, because they accept a lot of shenanigans over here, or well, over there. Over here, I got to keep it kind of, kosher. So, I did speak to the hubby about it, and his dad was just so amazing in teaching them and just showing them, not only the boys, they do have a sister, but just showing them the way of the world, teaching them many, many different things. And that's kind of like how I let this sink in for me. Because at first I was having a really hard time. And he did tell me that, like, watching my dad work, watching my dad in his creative to outside, way to outside, watching my dad in during his creative era, then watching my dad during his, I know everything in the financial district era, just watching and then watching my dad hustle and drive cabs for a bit era. Like, so there were just so many different things that he sat back and watched his dad do that he currently uses today. And he always says that made him very strong mentally, where, you know, if there was something that he couldn't achieve, he'll try something else for a little bit, but then he'll go back because he's not gonna give that up. And to me, that was very, very fucking important. Listening to him express that, I said, "Okay, I definitely see where you're coming from." So that's why the quote stood. All right, next quote. "Dads are most ordinary men turned by love into heroes, adventurers, storytellers, and singers of song." And this was by Pam Brown. This right here was, I don't wanna say perfect, but it was perfect, so I'm gonna fucking say it.
You're fired.
I know, I mean, come on. It is perfect because remember in the beginning, we were talking about how men are always described as being these stoic individuals, you know, these men are like they grow up and it is instilled in their brain, provide, take care, protect, all these things. But I feel that once love enters someone's soul, in particular dads, because this is who we're talking about. We're talking about all the fathers out there. Once it enters their soul, they turn into like these beautiful, soft creatures. And I know, don't come for me for using father and men and soft. Men have the right to love, men have the right to have emotions, men have the right to express themselves. So when I say soft, we're not thinking of the hood version, I of like, oh yeah, he's soft. No, cut that out. We're talking about a man's being, a man's state of being. And once love enters their life, their heart, once children provide an abundance of love, dads do turn into their heroes. They turn into these little adventurers who go with their children everywhere on every adventure and support them on every adventure. They tell stories. They sing songs no matter what. And this is what my husband does all the time. He's the cutest thing. I tell him all the time, babe, you are tone deaf. And he doesn't care. If we all want to sing, we all want to jump around, we all want to run around the house and sing at the top of their lungs. he's going to do the same. And this quote kind of solidifies what I was saying about men having to be so hard on themselves because, society says so. This softens them up a little bit. They they're turned by love. They have their children and they're like, wow, I helped make this little person. And now I have to help them grow and navigate through this world. So I'm going to be the best fucking dad I can be. And this is what they do. They have little adventures with their kiddos. They sing songs, they're storytellers. They talk about their past, and these kids are just like, wow, I can't believe it. And I see that with my husband and our little one all the time where every story she's just like, for real? And he's just so happy sharing that knowledge, sharing that time with her. And I just think it's a beautiful thing. So this quote right here, it's a beautiful quote. Primo, Pam Brown, you done good. You've done good. All right, so last quote says, a father is someone you look up to no matter how tall you grow. And this was by Unknown. And I think that is the perfect ending to this episode because it is true. No matter how big, no matter how married you are, no matter how many children you have yourself, once dad comes around, once your father comes around, you go back to that little person that your dad helped flourish. And I say this all the time. I haven't seen my dad in a very, very long time, but and it's always usually big gaps. But the very last time I did, or even I heard from him over the phone because it was during COVID and, nobody was outside, he called me and immediately I heard his voice and I was like a bubbly, giggly kid again. I was just like, oh, like it was crazy. But that feeling kind of fills you up. And I feel that no matter how tall you are, no matter how much you grow, doesn't matter, you live in a house with your wife and your kids. As soon as dad comes around, as soon as you think about dad, you go back to being that child that was loved and cared for so much by that dad of yours. So, shout out to Unknown because it was beautiful. Ay, mi familia, no shout out segment this week. But don't forget, if you're a podcaster or want me to shout out any of your favorite podcasts, DM me, email me, send me a message, a voice message. I will make sure to connect and give them a shout out because we out here trying to grow mi familia. And there's nothing like supporting each other. Of course, nothing at all. The only shout out that I do, that it hasn't, I mean, it could have something to do with podcasts. It's just not individual people is to all the dads out there. Shout out to all the wonderful, beautiful, present, strong fathers in their children's lives. Yes. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for being present. Your children love every single fucking second of it. I promise you that they do. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And you're a great dad. You're a great father, no matter what they say, no matter the obstacles that are, in your way, the barriers that are put up, because we know it happens. You are amazing. Keep doing what you do. Bueno, my people, mi gente, it's about that time. Like always, I want to thank you for spending your precious moments with me. Don't forget to go follow me on Instagram at itsmi.chelle. Click the link in my bio. It'll take you to all my other socials. You can send me direct voice messages, emails, and so much more. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, It's Michelle Podcast, on YouTube, of course, and on Patreon. Make sure you subscribe. And if you head over to YouTube, click on that notification bell so you don't miss out on any content. I will make sure that all links are in the description, but they're also on my Instagram bio. I'm just out here trying to make getting to Friday a lot easier. And just like that, we've reached the end of It's Michelle, and you can catch It's Michelle Podcast every Monday to make sure your week starts off on the right foot, or so we can just say fuck Mondays together wherever you stream your podcasts and on YouTube. I know it's early, but happy Father's Day to all the wonderful dads out there. There will be no episode next week because we will be celebrating Father's Day and making sure my husband gets all the attention as always. So I will miss y'all, pero it will give you time to catch up to any episodes that you may have missed. Mi gente, so y'all already know what to do. And lastly, I want to say this. I'm going to say this because I have witnessed this firsthand. I have seen it happen growing up, neighbors. I have seen it. I've seen women do this. But women complain about being single mothers because, they're solely the people who are around their children 24/7. For any reason, you never know, divorce, separation, whatever that family dynamic looks like. But then when you have a great father who's just like, well, I'm here to help you. I'll do this. I'll pick this up. I'll take him to the doctor's appointment. I'll feed them. I'll do all these things. Said mothers want to micromanage their every fucking move and still complain on how they have to do everything and provide and take care of everyone. I don't know how I feel about that.
You're fired.
Ain't that some shit? Peace and love. Don't come for me, but I'm out.
I see you. It's me. 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 Shell.